Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our EAFC 24 Summer Career Mode. We returned today off the back of our season finale in the last episode. Disappointing loss to Aston Villa in the FA Cup final, but we did manage to finish in 6th place, which should have secured Europa Conference League football for the upcoming season. As I'm sure many of you will know, some deals don't go through until the second. So we see Riedvald depart for Hellas Verona, and also I loan out Samuel Orozco, the young Colombian defender. He's gone to the Blades for 2 years back down in the Championship. I quite like that move. And let's have a look at our budget for the upcoming season. Qualifying for Europe, we've been given... Ouch, okay, I thought it'd be more than that. Premier League budget, we had 20 million left over from last year and we qualified for Europe. Okay, I thought it'd be more than that, but 57.5 million to spend. I do expect us to raise some money from player sales, as I'm expecting quite a lot of bids for our key players, as we discussed towards the end of last season. But this is how the squad is looking with the players who have come back. A lot of these are going to head out again, either on loans, or some of them will just get sold on permanent if I don't think they've got much of a future at the club. And as I run you through the squad hub here, we have got a lot of players returning from loan. We've still got quite a big squad, 44 players in total, and there are a few in the youth academy that I'd quite like to promote and get loaned out as well. So as we see, Joel Ward is retiring at the end of the season. Unfortunately, Klein is not, so we'll probably let him leave on a free. There is quite a big issue of having players with their deals up at the end of the season, as Ozo's lost his potential tag. That is a shame. Lots of players with their deals up at the end of the season, so we are going to have to sort that out. Going to have to give out a few contracts as well. And Jordan Ayew also retiring. That's nice to see. But yeah, the likes of Elise, potentially Eze as well. Mateta had a really good year last year as well. Wharton, Ducore. I'm expecting some big bids in this summer window. And yeah, you can see the players with their deals up at the end of the season. We have got an absolute ton of them. So going to have to be quite ruthless here, I think, and decide who we want to keep and who it is that we want to let go. So I have just offered out 5 contracts to start with. The young goalkeeper Owen Goodman has signed a 2-year extension with a slight wage increase. We've then got a few of the youngsters, Malachi Boateng, Adamola Ola Adabomi, who had a good loan spell out at Burton last year, and Adaramola, who have all signed 3-year extensions at the club. I quite like the look of those 3 youngsters. And then also Odson Edouard and Will Hughes have both signed 2-year extensions at the club, both with slight wage increases as well, as I think they are decent squad players to have around now that we're in Europe. And actually, speaking of Europe, let's see what competition we've gone into. I bet it's the Europa League. Where is it? Yeah, UEFA Europa League. We should be in the Conference League, but this game just seems to be really bugged when it comes to what competition you should be going in. Oh wow, so even tougher heading into the Europa League. They want us to finish in a Europa League spot as well, which in career mode only counts as 5th place, and reach the semi-finals this year of the FA Cup. Well, that success we had last year has set us up again this season for some tricky objectives. Man, I want to be in the Conference League. I never get to play in it, but instead we'll go into the Europa League. Just quickly, because I've got loads to crack on with today, I want to see what teams made it into which competition. So it was Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Tottenham Hotspur going into the Champions League. So that is the top 4. Then in the Europa League, you've got Aston Villa, who won the Conference League and the FA Cup last year. Of course, us, who I think should be in the Conference League. Newcastle, who finished 5th, I think it was. And then in the Europa Conference League, you've got Chelsea. So we've got an extra team in the European competition this season. Man, that's so frustrating. I really wanted to be in the Conference League, but instead we will go into the Europa League for the upcoming season. I just want to show you who I've got on the transfer list here. Quite a few of the players who have signed new deals have gone on the loan list, and quite a few with their deals up at the end of the season have gone on the transfer list. Annoyingly, I can't remove Jaden Raymond. He only just signed a new contract, but I think because of the dispute last year, I just cannot remove him from the transfer list. I've also got the young man Zach Hurst on the loan list. I think I'm going to try and get him out this season, as we can guarantee him some more first team football elsewhere. Try and get a lot of development on his growth, and then get him back next summer and get him involved as part of the first team. So, right, strap in guys, time to start advancing. I'm expecting some big bids for some of our key players here. Well, first bids of the window here, I've negotiated a loan for this Scottish attacking midfielder out of the academy, Kirk Duff. Also delegated loans for Owen Goodman and Liam Charlton. We've accepted an offer for Matherin, as we've just got so many good players in those attacking positions. Also a big bid here from Stade Rennais in France for Odson Edouard. Would maybe consider this, but he's just signed a new contract, so for now we will turn that down. I'm not going to sell him literally a week after he's just signed a new deal, but rather interestingly, we've seen some interest in one of my big targets for this summer, Ferdi Kadioglu. Now for Kadioglu, I really like the look of him in that wing-back position. He's absolutely rapid. You see the high agility, high balance, 91 stamina as well. And he can play on either side as a dual-sided fullback. So he was one of my top targets for this window. Had a great European Championships with Turkey as well. Quite a lot of money. Well, I say that around market valuation they reckon we can get him for. I'm not sure. I'm going to hold fire on that deal for now, but I think I am going to make my first signing of the summer, as I'm going to go for Remo Freuler. Don't have the full scout report back from him, but another player had a good Euros with Switzerland. He's very experienced, and with us heading into the Europa League this year, I think having someone like him who's been around the block and played in Europe before could be vital for us. Let's bring him to Selhurst Park. So Remo Freuler becomes our first signing of the summer. Just a very solid player, and with that European experience, I do think it's a good bit of business. 88 stamina as well. Not sure how much he's going to play, as we are very strong in those areas. Could potentially do a job at RCB as well, but I really like that, bringing in someone with European experience. And I do expect us to maybe lose one of our midfielders in this window as well. So Remo Freuler, first signing of the summer, welcome to Selhurst Park. I've just accepted a bid from FC Twente for Killian Phillips, and I'm really not too sure what to do on this Kadioglu deal. I do expect us to make some sales and bring some money in, but I'm not sure if I want to spend what's probably going to be half of my starting transfer budget on just one player. I mean, the thing is, the squad is really good at the moment as we are, and I wouldn't really be making drastic changes unless we are to sell players, and then I've got replacements lined up. So I don't know, man. I'm really tempted by this, and right-footed as well. So may even potentially come in and start on that right-hand side ahead of Munoz, rather than being back up to Tyrick Mitchell. I think I'm going to try and negotiate with Fenerbahce and see how much they want. Not that it's really going to soften the transfer fee much, but what if I offer you one of our youngsters, Scott Banks? Now they want Chris Richards. Well, that is definitely not happening. We'll remove the exchange player and we'll go in again at 23.5. And Fenerbahce say yes. I'm not sure if his deal's up come the end of the season. That might be what's softening the transfer fee a little bit. Yeah, his contract is up at the end of the season. I just think he's a perfect fit for our system. So I'm really tempted to go ahead with this one. Wages won't be too high either, and he fits our system like a glove. Let's bring in the Turk. So Ferdi Kadioglu joins for 23.5 million. I do think that my hand was forced a little bit by this one, but I do agree that he fits our system like a glove. High work rates, 4-star foresight. He's absolutely rapid, got the high stamina. And he does sign a 35 grand a week important squad role contract. So he is probably going to want to start. Going to convert him to right wing back for the time being anyway, as we don't really have much cover on that side. And he definitely can step in on the left if needed as well to cover Tyrick Mitchell. Well, we've got our first departure here. I think there's going to be quite a few in this summer window. Kirk Duff heading out on loan to Südtirol for 2 years, and Killian Phillips as well heading to FC Twente for 2.5 mil. Oh man, and there is the big bid as well. Well, I was expecting the bids to come flooding in this summer window. Adam Wharton, I love this man, but he's wanted by Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund have a great history of bringing young players through, and they've had some good young English talents as well over the last few years. They can offer Champions League football as well to Wharton. I'm not going to undersell him here, though. He's got, I think, 4-5 years left on his deal, so I'm not going to sell for cheap. If Edin Terzic does want him, then he is going to have to pay a premium for the youngster. And I'm not selling him for anything under 40 million. That is my my lowest I'll go. And Dortmund say no. Well, I did say I wouldn't stand in his way, but only for the right amount of money. Adam Wharton, I would have allowed him to leave for 40 million, but Borussia Dortmund say no. So for now, the Englishman stays. Another deal going through here. Owen Goodman off to LAFC to go and play his football out in America for 2 years. And we also see Kofi Barmer, the Northern Irish defender, heading to FCU Craiova. Really low transfer fee, but 23 years of age. Just wanted to get him off the books. Another deal going through here as we're starting to clear out our house. Roshan Mathurin did send him out on loan last year, but he didn't really grow, and we've got so many players in those attacking areas, so happy to see him depart. We've still got around 30 million left in the budget, and so far we've not really had too many bids for our key players. Yeah, we've cleared about half the names on the transfer list at the moment. Still got some bids for some of the players on the transfer list. So once we've cleared them, we'll maybe look at bringing in some more names. I always like to clear my own house before I look to start bringing new pieces in. I think there were a few more bids there. Oh, and I see a bid for Lerma. Who's it from? Union Berlin. Well, I don't really think he'd want to leave there. They've not got European football. They've got Oscar, who they're trying to offer. I'm going to reject that one. Jefferson Lerma, he spent the last few years of his career playing in the Premier League. We've now qualified for Europe. I don't see him going to Germany to play for a mid-table side. We've got another loan bid for Charlton, who for some reason we just cannot seem to get out on loan. And it looks as if Zachary Hurst could be heading out on a one-year loan to Brentford to get some Premier League experience. More deals going through here again. They're not bringing us in a huge amount of money, but we're getting players off the books. Malcolm Ebiowi, I think, is heading out to Everton on a one-year loan. Decent, good young player. And Kadioglu's position change is ready. Well, just converted Kadioglu to right wing back, and he's jumped up to 81 overall. I do definitely think that the option, our best option, is to start him at right wing back. Drop Daniel Munoz down to the bench, no longer growing at 28 years of age, and have Tyrick Mitchell starting on the left. I think that's a good bit of business bringing Kadioglu to the club. Well, I wanted to loan out Jaden Raymond this summer, but I can't get rid of the transfer request that he submitted, even though he's just signed a new deal. So, as annoying as it is, I think I'm just going to accept this offer. We've got so many good attackers. Just 20 years of age, 62 overall. He looks decent, and I did want to keep him at the club, but I just cannot get him off the transfer list and add him to the loan list. So I'm just going to let him go to Craiova, and he'll join up with the centre-back that we sold there just a few moments ago. Another deal going through here. I think that's Caden Rodney, yep, off to FC Andorra for 2 years. Another of the youngsters heading out on loan. That is Zachary Hurst heading out to Brentford on a 1-year loan. So good to get him some Premier League football, as I don't think he was going to get a huge amount with us here at Crystal Palace. And we've also seen Boateng heading out on a 12-month loan to Heidenheim as well. Just signed a new deal, but heading out to Germany for a year. But we've finally seen the youngster Charlton heading out on loan. I've tried to get him out on loan like 5 or 6 times and they've all fallen through. So he is heading out on loan. I think we've nearly cleared everyone out of the squad who was transfer listed. We'll accept this bid for Banks here. And yeah, just a few names left. We've accepted a loan for Adaramola. Gordon we're trying to get rid of, but again, high wages are keeping him here. Similar thing with Scott Banks and Jaden Raymond. More deals being completed. It's Adaramola. Quite like that one, heading to Luton Town for 2 years. Wow, well, there is the bid. I've been waiting for it. It's taken almost a month. Big bid from Manchester City for Michael Elise. I think he had a release clause in his contract in real life, which was 45 million plus 5 mil in add-ons. Looks as if we could get a hell of a lot more for him in this save. I would like to get him to Bayern Munich, so I might try something a little bit sneaky and offer like a swap deal and just ask for loads of money. If not, I am happy to sell him to Man City, as they are the Premier League champions. Another deal going through here, that is Scott Banks off to Pendixspor. Just a small fee of 1.4 million, but again, just need to get these players off the books. Still trying to get a bid for Michael Elise from Bayern Munich. Another deal going through, Jaden Raymond. I didn't really want to sell him, but my hands were tied, so we do end up selling him to Craiova, and he will join up with the centre-back that we sold there. So Man City have offered over 100 million here, and I'm not really sure what to do because it's obviously a lot more than what was spent in real life, but obviously his market valuation is 84.5 million. I'm thinking maybe we could try and bring in a player, but I'm not really too sure who that would be. I think what I'm going to do is ask for 115 million. I could probably get quite a lot more for him, but that'll bring our budget up to around 150, and I think that's a little bit more realistic in the transfer market. There goes Michael Elise straight away. Well, it's a big move to the champions. Of course, we know he's gone to Bayern Munich in real life. I knew it was very unlikely I'd be keeping him here for Season 2, but Michael Elise departs, and instead of going to Germany, it's to join up with the champions. Well, there is a bid here for Jean-Philippe Mateta, but it's from FSV Mainz, so not really the sort of bid I was expecting. So we will turn that down for now. Well, there goes another sale, and it's Ume Chibueze heading abroad. Another young player, another winger, and just got so many of them. Another bid for Adam Wharton here, this time from Aston Villa. But I'm actually going to just turn this one down. They finished below us in the league last year. Yes, they managed to beat us in the FA Cup and qualify for Europe. But I'm going to say to Adam, no, stay here with us. Well, just looking at the squad here, of course, the first 11 is still very decent. We are going to have to replace Michael Elise. But other than that, I think the main concern is the lack of depth at the moment. We've got some good young players, but really lacking some quality in depth. Now we've got that money to spend, we can replace Elise and then look to bring in some squad players as well. Well, I think what I'm going to do is bring in my replacement for Michael Elise. I think Crystal Palace were linked with Matthias Sule, but it's gone a little bit dead. I'm not sure what the latest is on that. But for me in this career mode, I am going to bring him in as my replacement for the Frenchman. Just 21 years of age. Very similar player on that right-hand side, looking to cut in on his left foot. He's got a little bit of work to do on the technicals, on the stats like the dribbling, maybe the finishing and the passing. But you can see the ball control and the dribbling, the agility, all very, very good. I think Sule will be a great replacement for about a third of the price that we sold Michael Elise for. I'm going to be a bit cheeky and go to Juventus and offer 30 million. Now, they want Adam Wharton, which is just not going to happen. We'll go back in with 32.5 million. Don't think we'll have to pay too much over the valuation, and no, we won't indeed. 32.5 million for the Argentine. So Matthias Sule is in on that right-hand side as our Michael Elise replacement. I really like the look of his stats. Yes, he's got a little bit of a way to go until he reaches the level of Michael Elise, but for, like I say, around a third of the price that we got for Elise, I do think it's a good replacement, and within a season or two he could be into the mid to high 80s. So Matthias Sule, welcome to Selhurst Park. And I'm actually going to go in and make my very next signing right away. And I'm going to look at the relegated sides from last year, and specifically Luton Town, and go for Teden Mengi. I think there was a period a couple of months ago when Crystal Palace were linked with the Englishman. He's a pretty solid defender, and I think he could play anywhere across our back three with the 3-star weak foot. He's quick enough to play in those wide areas, and 6 foot tall as well, and decent in the air. With 87 jumping, he could play in the middle. As a squad option for around market valuation, I think that's a good bit of business from relegated Luton. I'm actually going to try and offer them one of the players that I can't sell, Gordon, and they don't want him. They want 6 million plus a 1% sell-on clause. That's absolutely fine with me, and Teden Mengi looks as if he's set for a instant return to the Premier League. So Teden Mengi is in as a squad centre-back, and as I say, I quite like that signing. A very cheap fee and a cheap contract as well. He's pretty quick, pretty strong and good in the air as well. We'll look to increase the stamina and the weak foot, but I do think this guy could play anywhere across the back three. A very handy budget buy. So just looking at the team, starting lineup still looking very good. We've brought in Kadioglu and Matthias Sule on that right-hand side. Bench is looking decent, and in the reserves there's not a huge amount of quality, but some good numbers. I am thinking potentially next of bringing in a bench attacker, someone with a bit more quality to be able to bring on. And actually thinking about it, now that we're in Europe, we've got a rule that I'm implementing for this save to stick with the realism, is the fact that we need 4 homegrown and trained at the club players to comply with the squad registration rules. For those that play FM, Football Manager, you'll know what this rule is, but you have to have 4 players who were trained at the academy. I believe it's between the ages of 18 and 21, I think. So Crystal Palace have a few decent ones, and we've already got some at the club. So Tyrick Mitchell is probably the main one, came through the youth academy. We've also got Jesserin Raksaki, which is why I kind of want to keep him for this season. I think Nathaniel Klein also applies for that as well. So we've got 3 at the club. There are a few more that we could look to bring in. Freddie Woodman as a backup goalkeeper is an option at Preston, mainly known for his time at Newcastle, but he did actually come through the Crystal Palace Academy. But we've already got Sam Johnston and Dean Henderson, and Joe Whitworth, the young keeper we've got out on loan, is also eligible. So I could just look to recall him from his loan. But if we're going to look for an attacker who can potentially be an option off the bench, there's one man that particularly springs to mind. And well, if you haven't already worked out who it is, it's this man, Wilfried Zaha. Zaha. I think it would be the 4th time that he'd returned to the club. Obviously, he was sold in the summer of last season, so he spent a year out at Galatasaray. But now that we're back in Europe, maybe he'd want to come back once again to play for Crystal Palace in Europe. He came through the academy, and if we're looking for an attacker, yes, he's 31, but off the bench, he's still very quick. He was a great goal scorer for Palace, great dribbling, great ball control, knows where the back of the net is, and 5-star skills as well. We can get him close to that market valuation. Not sure what the Palace fans would think of this. Let me know down in the comments if there are any watching, but I think we should bring Wilf Zaha back to Selhurst Park. Again, I'm going to go in with a valuation bid of 18 million. They want Jefferson Lerma, which is not going to happen, so we'll go 18.5 and see where we're at. Well, they want around 20. We'll meet in the middle, go 19.5 million for Wilf Zaha. It's 1.5 million over the valuation, but still under 20 million. I think that's a great deal to bring him back to Selhurst. Well, there we have it then. Wilfried Zaha returning to Crystal Palace once again. He did take the number 8, but I'm going to give him his number 11 back. I'm buzzing to have him back at Crystal Palace. Again, I don't know what the reaction would be of the Crystal Palace fans, so let me know whether you think they would welcome him back or not. Still very decent, even at 31 years of age. Rapid option off the bench, and as I say, he knows where the back of the net is. Scored plenty of goals for Palace. Now that we're back in Europe, I'm buzzing to have Wilf Zaha back at the club. Well, guys, we've made it to match day 1 of the Premier League season. We've still managed to keep hold of pretty much all of our starters other than Michael Elise. Brought in some decent squad players and Kadioglu on that right-hand side. So still with around 2 weeks left in the window. We'll see whether we manage to keep hold of the rest of our key players. But we'll jump into the first game of the new Premier League season. Arsenal at home at Selhurst Park. Tricky test to kick off the campaign. Let's see if we can start off with a win. Come on, you Eagles. Underway here at Selhurst Park under the lights. I think this is the Friday fixture to open the Premier League campaign up. As I mentioned, still got most of our starters here, which surprises me. There is still a few weeks left in the window, and I have got replacements lined up. I've had them lined up since basically the start of last season, in case any big bids did come in. But at the moment, we've managed to keep hold of our key players. Well, we were so close in this fixture last year to coming away with a memorable win. I think it was just match day 2 of the season, and Gabriel Martinelli scored that late header to crush our dreams and equalise for Arteta's side. It's going to come to Kadioglu there. Look at the pace of the Turk down the right-hand side, getting the start today and winning the corner for his new side. Matthias Soulé will swing it in. Dangerous ball into the middle. Gehi attacks it and pushed away by Aaron Ramsdale. Soulé again from the other side, looking for Mateta at the near post. And Mateta's at it again. 20 league goals last campaign, and he scored his first of the new season here as well. Again, I'm not sure how there's not been big interest from the top 6 sides in the Premier League, because if you need a striker, he's Mr. Reliable. Mateta heads home the opening goal, and Crystal Palace lead against Arsenal once again. Jesus. Oh, inside Richards. Shot comes in, and Dean Henderson forced into his first stop of the game. Again, no interest in Dean Henderson this summer. Won the Golden Glove last campaign with 17 clean sheets in 38 games. No bids from any of the top clubs. I'm so surprised that we've not had any bids for our key players. Eze round the corner to Mitchell. Chance before the break for a second. Mateta and Doucouré from the edge. And I think Ramsdale got a touch on that to flick it over the top. It is indeed a corner. Matthias Soulé to swing it in. Looking for Gehi. Hits Ødegaard. And Mark Gehi stays down there, which is a worrying sign. But at the same time, could also stop clubs signing him in this summer transfer window. Ødegaard, ball into Rice. Shot comes in from Declan Rice, and Dean Henderson has to once again get gloves on it. Kept it in by Kadioglu, and Arsenal just upping the pressure in this second half. Martinelli down the left. Kadioglu's with him. He's somehow managed to keep that in. Jesus nods it back to Zinchenko. Now Kimmich. Zinchenko back to Rice. All through the gap to Ødegaard, and now Jesus lets fly, and Dean gets gloves on it and gathers at the second attempt. 15 to play here. Still we lead by 1. Last chance for Arsenal. They scored late in this fixture last year. And it was this man, Gabriel Martinelli, finding Alphonso Davies. Back off Wharton to Fonzie. Now Saka, Ødegaard shot, and Saka, big save by Dean. When we nearly saw a deja vu moment. Aaron Ramsdale is up. Declan Rice will take the corner. It's in towards Ramsdale, and Dean gathers the loose ball, where we nearly saw a repeat of last year's fixture where Arsenal grabbed a late equaliser through Gabriel Martinelli. This time it was Bukayo Saka, but instead we managed to hold on. A couple of big saves from Dean Henderson, and we win against Arsenal on match day 1 of the new Premier League season. What a great way to end today's episode. Well, a fantastic win on match day 1, slightly soured by the fact that we see Mark Guehi has picked up a broken toe after going down at the end of the first half. It does mean that nobody will be able to sign him in this summer transfer window, but our captain is going to miss the first few months of the campaign. That's gutting that on match day 1 we've already had our first broken toe injury of the season. But guys, that is where we will leave it for now. We'll be back in the next episode to close out the summer transfer window, and we'll also see the draw for the Europa League. I'll catch you for the next episode very soon, guys, and peace.